The Nintendo NX is very much still shrouded in mystery. We know pretty much nothing about it other than a few rumours which have been floating around. Now, of course, we are set to learn more about this console next year, but for now, I have some rather interesting comments from analyst Michael Pachter, who many of you should be familiar with by now. Now, according to him, the NX mustn't use a special controller like the Wii or the Wii U, and more importantly, must have third-party support for publishers like EA and Ubisoft. Now, he spoke to Sift, saying, quote, "If Nintendo gets the same level of support for NX that it got for the Wii U, it's doomed before it launches. That's much, much more important than the price. If they get third-party support, if they make it in such a way that everyone can port every game over, and the incremental cost to make it for the Xbox One, PS4 and NX is 1 to 2 million, every game will be there." Now, of course, we're talking about EA and Ubisoft specifically because, as we all know, they publicly stopped supporting the Wii U. EA was, of course, the first. Now, Ubisoft did, of course, gamble rather largely on the console's launch, Zombie U, but later held back software for it, and generally speaking, there weren't a huge amount of third-party games, some of which were held back due to the graphical constraints of the Wii U. Some were just not being supported, like in the case of EA and Ubisoft. Now, he also went on to say that differentiating the technology from the current offerings we have from both Sony and Microsoft would actually hamper this third-party support, and that's where his comments about the gamepad come in. And he said, quote, "If it's a whole different language, or requires a whole different programming scheme, or requires something to do with the gamepad where you've got the controller different the way the Wii U works, it's doomed. No one's going to support it. More this thing looks like a PS4 and Xbox One, I think the better it does, and ultimately, the people who are going to buy it are people that don't have a PS4 or Xbox One, or people who have a PS4 or Xbox One and want to play Nintendo games." Now, of course, we won't know how true his comments are until we actually know what the NX is, but I definitely think that developers such as EA and Ubisoft are going to be a bit more cautious about perhaps throwing such big support behind the NX, especially Ubisoft, who have pretty much lost out big when it came to Zombie U, and of course it just came out on the PC and next generation consoles as well, but have reportedly just didn't even make their money back, so they're definitely going to be cautious. But if Nintendo's NX proves successful upon launch, then obviously third-party developers are going to see that, hey, we're not having another Wii U, we can actually afford to take a bit of a gamble, invest in getting our game onto this platform, especially if the rumours are true that it is actually the same sort of power level or maybe even more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One. Now, of course, this is all speculation. Now, here's the thing. Nintendo are very much known for their innovation. They innovated with the Wii, and of course, it made them £1 million squillion pretty much. And they innovated again with the Wii U, and it didn't work out so well. But they had always innovate in some way. Of course, they played it safe with the GameCube, for example, and that's one of their best sellers, but they have definitely become known to be the innovators. For example, the 3DS could be labelled as an innovation, and of course is massively stomping the Vita, which is not doing very well at all. Now, whether or not the controller will hamper things, well, I think that's kind of objective for now. Sorry, subjective, not objective. Because, of course, we don't know what it is. We can't say. If I knew what the controller looked like, maybe I could speculate, but I just don't know. I think it needs to be easier to port a game over from, say, the PC or the PS4 to the NX than it was to the Wii U. Of course, if you're porting a game over to the Wii U, you have to keep that second screen in mind, and that probably added quite a bit of development cost. Of course, I'm, again, speculating. I know, that's my favourite word today. But if you get a more, I wouldn't say standard controller, but just, it could be a weird, wonderful controller, just maybe not without a giant screen in it, then it's probably going to be an easier job to port over, because you don't have to go, oh, I also need to code for the second screen, and that obviously, especially for indie games, is going to add too much cost for it to be worth it. Now, if the NX is popular, maybe it can kind of be worth it, even if it has a second screen controller system. Again, of course, we have heard rumours that it does, and that it also kind of works as a portable device as well, but again, we don't know how true these are. What I'll probably do is, when we actually know what the NX is come back to this and think about whether Michael Pachter's onto something or not. So he has been right a few times, but as I said before, he has also been wrong. Thank you very much for watching though, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what Nintendo has to do to make the NX popular. Do you think the controller is the key, or do you think that it just needs to be a bit more powerful to encourage third-party support, or a mix of both? Do let me know. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.